Sorry about that, guys. I had to do some unplugging and plugging back in. What do I need to know about Dargonus? Dargonus is the heart and soul of your protectorate. It is where the main administrative resources and storage facilities are, and so is the Von Valancius Palace. If you'd like to know, this is where you publicly accept the title of Rogue Trader. Dargonus is a major administrative hub that runs the cargo fleet and keeps track of its finances. Abelard, in your opinion, which should we deal with first? Abelard strokes his beard for a few seconds before giving a hesitant reply. Rediscovering the agri-world will supply your protector with something none of your servants can do without: sustenance. The importance of basic supplies should not be underestimated. Just look at Footfall in its current pitiful state. On the other hand, I am concerned by the rumors concerning Kiaba Gamma. There have been no problems on Janus for many years, but something is very wrong in the industrial world now. Delay may cost us the entire planet. Trust do not have to explain the capital world. Losing it would make us a laughingstock of other dynasties. Besides, the loss of chronicles and ledgers would spell a bureaucratic catastrophe. So all three systems are equally vital to the protectorate. It falls upon you to decide which should be brought into the fold before the rest, Lord Captain. Very well, our course is clear. Do my officers have any other issues that require immediate attention? That is all, Lord Captain. The vessel and the crew await your instructions, are ready to depart Footfall immediately, should you so desire. I do desire, but also I want to check in on everybody. Nothing new, that's fine, it's acceptable. I know a couple people have some things to talk about, like Argenta and our new lady. Argenta, say before we talk to her.
Greetings.
I'm waiting for you to tell me about your past and explain the strange words of that cultist on Footfall.
Yes, I'm ready. I would ask only one thing of you, Rogue Trader. If I may, I would like to see the chamber of the sacred warrant and kneel before the relic touched by the Emperor himself. A difficult conversation lies ahead of us, and I wish to pray by the relic before I lay my soul bare.
Let's go. Of course for you, Argenta, of course. Argenta drops to her knees, her hands making the sign of Aquila. Her eyes are locked on the sweeping signature of the warrant, a seemingly mundane thing, merely a flourish on a piece of paper, unless one knows whose hand left that mark and whose blood is on that paper. Really? No voice acting for this? If thou seest a flaw in me, smite me. If thou knowst a fall of mine, burn me with flames of fury and righteousness. But if thou seest a light in me, grace me. If thou hearest the plea of mine, bless me with wrath of fury and righteousness. Argenta's voice is sonorous, as if made from singing hymns and prayers, but right now she cannot seem to catch her breath, so overwhelmed with emotion is she. For I breathe by the will of thine, for I live by the law of thine. I carry thy word, O Emperor. I bring solace to the servants of thine, and ruin to foes of thine, a fate of terror and righteousness. Upon finishing, she closes her eyes and remains silent for a long time with her head raised high, slowly like the first licks of flame in a campfire. A smile blossoms on her lips. When Argenta finally opens her eyes, they're alight with uncanny resolution. Rogue Trader, we need to talk, or rather, I need to tell you something. The truth about how I ended up on Theodore von Valancius' ship, and about the cultists we encountered on Footfall. I'm listening. Please understand, I couldn't trust you before. I'll tell you my story and you'll see why. She pauses. I'll start at the beginning. It's easier to piece everything together that way. Upon arriving in the Expanse and on Footfall, I found no purpose here, only torment. I wasn't needed. The reliquary I had been assigned to safeguard was already well protected by Reverend Hieronymus' mission, and no one was trying to defile it. For all its lawlessness, Footfall respects the worship of the Emperor. That was when Lady Theodora, head of your dynasty, appeared. She became an agent of divine will in a way. Argenta falters, searching for the words. It was from her that I learned about a planet recently discovered by her scouts, Salus Prime. For Rogue Trader, the planet was of little interest, a feral world away from the convenient warp routes. But for me, learning about existence was a revelation. I've never heard of such a planet. Does it belong to the Von Valancius dynasty? Yes, now the planet is yours by right, but it's not as simple as that. The warp route leading to it was lost. I will explain in due time. May I continue? Please. The description of the Salus Prime was familiar to me. It seemed very familiar to a world from an ancient legend. The legend of Saint Argenta and her ship. Her voice grows reverent. Argenta, the living saint. She is my patroness. The order named me after her. She died a millennia ago when heretics caused her ship to fall from the skies. But even those blasphemers cannot touch Argenta's ashes or her holy relic, the one star. For the fallen ship, which now served as a resting place for the saint's remains, would only allow the truly righteous to enter, and all others would meet their death. Imagine what I felt when this flash of insight came upon me. The world where Saint Argenta's ship fell was merely a vague legend. No one knew its actual whereabouts, and suddenly I, myself named after the saint, came across this information. I realized at that moment that it was important, that I must journey to the planet and find the ship, and so I asked Reverend Hieronymus to let me go for a time on a personal pilgrimage. I boarded Theodore's ship and demanded passage to the newly discovered planet Salus Prime. Why did you keep your supposition from the Reverend? Surely he could have helped you with the search for the ship and the Saint's remains. I couldn't just come out and tell him. It was important revealed to me personally, can't you see? I told the Reverend the honest truth, and it was going on a personal pilgrimage to embolden my spirit. It really was a pilgrimage. It was as if Saint Argenta herself had shown me the way, commanding me to undertake this trial. If I had found the ship and set foot on its decks, if I had laid my hand on her remains and the relic, it would have been a sign that I truly had been blessed with the Saint's favor. It's understandable. Searching for your destiny, for your place in the world, is a special matter, a personal one. You either succeed at it or you don't. She looks at you somewhat surprised. I thought that I had been called that finding the ship was my destiny, my place in the world. Perhaps there is something to that. I imagine Theodora was thrilled with the prospect. Lady Theodora lent her assistance. It was her intention to visit the newly discovered world, and she took me with her. You mentioned something called the One Star. What is it? Apologies, I got carried away and forgot to explain. The One Star is the relic kept by Saint Argenta. I belong to the order Pronatus, and we attach particular significance to holy relics. The One Star is one of the lost relics of the past, so mysterious that no one even knows what it is exactly. Argenta's hagiography at times calls it a banner, a set of armor, or a blessed chainsword. One thing is certain, it was a beacon of righteousness, and it was lost with Argenta's death. What happened next? Defeat, Argenta says bitterly. The ship's augurs failed to detect anything of note during orbital scanning. I expected this, though. According to the legend, the ship can conceal itself from naked eye, and only a pilgrim guarded by a pure heart can find it. What I didn't expect was an ambush waiting for us on that planet. I landed there with a small unit provided by Theodora. I know Saint Argenta's hagiography by heart. I know all the legends about her. I followed their obscure clues, the descriptions of mountains and rivers from millennia-old tales, and I was certain that I'd found a way to the ship, and that's when we were attacked. The words we heard in the heretic's shrine on footfall, something about ways, doors, please addressed to some lord, the edge of daybreak, Argenta is shaking with disgust. They were the same words as those spoken by the cultists who attacked us on Salus Prime. My whole unit perished. All those honest brave people I had led to search for the relic. It was only by a miracle that I didn't perish along with them. I didn't connect these events at first. The cultists on footfall, the cultists on Salus Prime, the cultists attacking the ship from Kurad's betrayal. What if these are all links in the same chain? What if they've long since infiltrated the ranks of the Von Valancia's servants? What if I led those heretics to the sacred planet with my search? No need to blame yourself. If the heretics really had wormed their way into the Von Valancia's ranks by then, they would have found the planet even without you going there. I doubt it. No one but me was particularly interested in the planet. Kurad, on the other hand, he sympathized with me when I first came aboard. He helped arrange an audience with Theodora and supported me in my effort to visit the planet. I never told him plainly why I wanted to go there, but I imagine that vulture must have figured out that it was something important, something related to the holy faith of the Imperium, and what could delight a heretic more than defiling a relic? Sadly, the only one that might have all the answers, Kunrad, escaped. Oh yes, and I sincerely hope that I'll meet him again. That serpent needs to answer a few questions before he's plunged into cleansing flame. So how did you manage to escape? She hangs her head. Theodora's people received the distress call, came to my rescue, and brought me aboard the ship. I barely remember what happened. When they arrived, I was already severely wounded, fighting back with whatever remained of my strength. I think I showed that we had to go after them, but they didn't listen. They took me to the shuttle and pulled me out. After that, it's all blackness. When I came to, we were on the middle of a warp jump. Theodora had urgent matters to take care of, and she decided that she could clear out the planet at a later time. And that's why you didn't trust me before, correct? Yes, rogue trader. Argenta looks at you in the eye. I saw with my own eyes how a member of your family showed his true colors as servants of the archenemy. I had already suffered a humiliating defeat at the hands of the cultists and was afraid of another betrayal. I couldn't be forthright with you, so I studied you looking for seeds of corruption or the light of righteousness. And what did you find? A man who stood shoulder to shoulder with me and helped eradicate the cultists on footfall. Argenta smiles as if reminiscing about a pleasant evening spent in the company of her friends rather than a bloody battle. Although my opinion of you started to change even before that, back when you agreed to talk to the orphans at my request. A leader who's willing to honor those who laid down their lives for them and to take care of their children is a leader who inspires trust, and the way you acted in that moment. Do you remember, there was a young man whose grief and confusion had driven him to insolence. You didn't turn a blind eye to his misdeed, but you chose the right words, to show him the path to redemption. It was harsh but necessary, like the Emperor's truth, like bitter medicine that helps the sick. I learned much about you in that moment, rogue trader, and I want to believe that I wasn't mistaken in my judgment. So just to clarify, you were wounded, so you never found St. Argenta's ship, is that right? Yes, I rushed out Theodora the moment I could walk again and insisted on going back to Salus Prime to defend the relic from the heretics, but I was told that the warp had destroyed the old route to the planet, and that plotting a new one would take a great deal of time and effort, as if could be anything more important than protecting the faith and hunting down servants of the archenemy. In any event, the route was lost, and all knowledge of it died in the attack on the ship along with the old navigator. But now we have a new lead. The data we collected at the cultist shrine on footfall. I don't care what that reprobate we executed said. There must be a way to track them down. Tell me, rogue trader, will you help me in this undertaking? You'll help me find the great relic and return it to the people in the Imperium. If the accursed Final Dawn is involved, it is my duty to help you. That cult must be reduced to ashes throughout the entire Koronus Expanse. Argenta walks up and places her hand on your shoulder. So be it, rogue traitor. As I stand here before the warrant, the embodiment of the Emperor's will, marked by his own hand, I vow that I will not relent until the holy relic has been returned and the heretics punished. May the light be with us both on this path. Woohoo! You know, they could have had her actually walk up and put your hand on your shoulder, but no, it's okay. It's okay. Just little minor things that would have been cool details. Also, I thought these people would have a lot more talking. But no, that's the wrong way. The other way, the other way. I thought they'd be talking a lot more when it came to their story parts, but I guess not. All up to me. Just want to make sure.
Lord Captain, your presence is welcome.
I'd like to discuss the
Of course.
Remind me, what is our mission?
To find the way to the planet called Salus Prime. Saint Argenta is my patroness, and that is where her fallen ship is. And it must also be the resting place of her great relic, the One Star.
Tell me more about Saint Argenta, whose relic you're searching for.
Gladly. Listen. Long ago, there was a blessed world. Thousands of stars covered the sky there, so bright that its denizens hardly knew the darkness of night. Thousands of rivers nurtured the soil. Thousands of gardens bloomed every spring, and at every moment, thousands of prayers were flying into the clear air, thanking and praising the Emperor. But one day, the people learned the meaning of darkness. Like a storm, accursed heretics who had sold themselves to the archenemy descended upon the planet. Shells flew from the sky that desolated whole cities and burned the gardens and filled the riverbeds with the blood of the faithful. Smoke and soot swallowed the skies and the 1,000 stars that had once shone over the world. Among the handful of survivors was one orphan who had watched all her family die, and the garden she'd grown up in burned to ash. But in her heart, she knew the absolute truth. Just these 3 words. The Emperor protects. And knowing that, she never looked away from the black, terrifying, smoke-covered sky. There were no more bright stars to be seen. Except for one. The One Star. The bright star. The silver star shone in the sky, and when the orphan smiled at it, the One Star fell right into her hands. All the faithful in every corner of the continent who saw the trail of the falling star recognized it as an omen and went looking for the place where it landed, and they rallied together, and with the light of the One Star, they found their salvation.
The girl from the story, that was Saint Argenta.
Yes, that was the beginning of her hagiography. It is known that she lived on a world where heretics staged a terrible insurrection. They wiped out all life on the planet, except those whom Saint Argenta managed to save with the One Star, and with the strength of her faith. After that, she traveled between worlds, gripped by turmoil on her ship marked with a silver star, and brought hope to the faithful. Numerous accounts confirm this. Her coming helped people turn the tide of the war and wipe away corruption before the Imperium's main forces even arrived. Millions of people owed their lives to her, but the heretics, having realized their imminent defeat, sent the remnants of their forces after the ship with the Silver Star. It fell from the skies onto an obscure world. There are no definitive records of how old Argenta was at the time. In some chronicles, she's even called the Child Saint, but their credibility is questionable. Either way, she didn't live long, but she left a bright trail in her wake, like a falling star.
What is this One Star?
If I only knew. Neither the hagiography nor the legends give a straight answer. Classical iconographers believed that the star turned into a banner woven from silver thread, which, when brought onto the battlefield, would shed light that blinded only heretics, but did no harm to the faithful. Most of them portrayed Saint Argenta as a girl carrying this banner. Others think that upon falling from the sky, the one star became a holy chainsword, which Argenta later used to strike down monsters and enemies of the Imperium. In some of the earlier engravings, Argenta is depicted wearing power armor with a silver star on her chest. One theological theory suggests that this armor was, in fact, the relic. Some even think that the one star is actually the ship on which Argenta traveled. I feel that my undertaking will be fulfilled when I find the answer that has eluded the Ecclesiarchy for millennia. I pray we find the way to Salus Prime soon. The ruinous powers must be aligned against us. They stand in the way of faith.
No more questions.
One day we will reach Salus Prime and stand before the gates of Saint Argenta's ship. I know it. I believe.
Are you ready to tell me more about yourself now?
If such is the rogue trader's wish, although there isn't much I can tell, I am the Emperor's daughter and his servant. What else is there to know?
Where do you hail from?
Now that I can tell you, I come from everywhere and nowhere. I am the child of officers of the Imperial Guard. I was born in the hold of a warship. Grew up following my parents' deployments from one planet to another, and lost my family in the flames of a righteous war. My memory is like wafts of smoke over a still battlefield. The gray of a ship's plating, the strict cadence of life in military camps. My mother's uniform. I loved looking at it. Then, that battle, the rumbling, the shouting, and the soot, the screams of soldiers burning alive, and the gold of the regiment's Aquila, untouched by soot or blood, the last unsullied piece of a world that was going mad. That was my last memory of my mother, and of my former life, before the Schola Progenium and the novitiate, before my trials, before the vows.
The golden shard you carry with you.
My own relic. It's the regiment's Aquila, or rather, the fragment that survived the attack, the explosions, and the fire. For me, it's a reminder that purity and radiance can be preserved, even in the heart of darkness.
So how did you become one of the Adeptus Sororitas?
Become. It's such a strange word for it. It seems right, but is that how one talks about their destiny? If you're asking about the path itself, that's easy enough to answer. First, like many other orphans, I endured the Schola Progenium. Those years were rough, but I remember the hardship fondly. Few things can compare with the feeling of satisfaction from a past trial, even if it leaves your body aching from exhaustion, or your soul wincing in pain. I was one of the best among my peers, and I was selected for the novitiate in the ranks of the Adeptus Sororitas. When the hour came, I passed the trials and took my vows. The most joyous day of my life. The Emperor's light has always been with me, but to accept it with all your heart, to utter the oaths, that is a rapture like no other.
Have you ever wished for a different lot in life?
Have I ever? But that would be shameful weakness, almost heresy. Of course not. I was born for this. I live by the Emperor's will, and in his light, I myself am the light. I must be the light. For myself, and for those who ask for my protection. I was chosen to serve. But beyond that, I won't deny it. Few things elate me as much as the thought that the heretic felled by my shot will never again orphan a child.
Thank you.
It is my pleasure to be candid.
Thanks for the conversation. Well, I know we're going to have a long episode here because we got to talk to everybody, make sure everybody's done talking.
Words cannot describe how bored I haven't.
T-poser! Oh no! We love the T-posers, it's okay. Yeah, we're gonna keep talking, even though...
Lord Captain.
Yeah. I discovered that there are caches left by Theodora somewhere on Dargonus and Kiava Gamma. Do you know anything about this?
It is wise for a rogue trader to have caches where they can safely store important information. And utterly unwise to share the coordinates of such caches with anyone. Even one's most trusted associates. I'm afraid I do not know how to find the caches, but I can offer some help. Your predecessor used this numeric code to deactivate certain defense systems in her service. If I know Lady Theodora as well as I think, then I'm quite certain that she left her caches well guarded. In that case, this code will be useful to you.
Thanks. Did I actually get a data slate? No. What's that noise? Oh, it's the person who needs leveled up. We'll do that this episode too.
To what do I owe this visit?
We want to discuss the nation of your mission.
Yes, but not here. I wouldn't want our conversation to be gossip fodder on the bridge and in the officers' mess.
Let me guess, this isn't going to be voice acted either, and I'm going to have to kill myself again. Thank you for finding an opportunity to talk. I trust now would be a good time to explain the reason for my return aboard your ship. Welcome the chance to assist the Inquisition with its inquiries, Von Calix. Lord Captain, your enthusiasm is commendable. The interrogator smiles, but his eyes remain cold. To business, then. The cult of the Final Dawn. The madmen preach their heretical doctrine among the denizens of the Koronus Expanse, and instigate crimes against the throne and humanity. One such crime took place in your protectorate. The Lord Inquisitor considered it necessary to have one of his acolytes accompany the rogue trader on the voyage into the corrupted region. I also need to meet with one of my observers on the capital world of your domain. Why would Ordo Xenos agents investigate a chaos cult? You were very well versed in how the Inquisition is organized, Gregor. Yes, initially our arrival in the Koronus Expanse was dictated by the need to fight Xenos, but this is more. The cult is tangentially related to my main specialization. Perhaps I'll be able to reveal the full truth someday, but right now I ask you to display humility and patience. A chaos cult in my protectorate, Heinrix. Are you laying an accusation against my dynasty? Chaos treads softly, Gregor. The main danger of secret cults and sects are that they are like seeds. They can remain in the ground for decades, safe from all scrutiny, until the opportunity to sprout, grow, and bear monstrous fruit presents itself. The emergence of a cult on one of the rogue traders' planets does not mean the dynasty head himself as a chaos worshipper. Having said that, it should be noted that Theodora von Valancius was famous for her loose interpretation of the freedoms granted by the warrant. Heinrix regards you with a probing look. A bloodline can be stained by ancestral transgressions. If it is indeed so, it is in your best interest to do whatever necessary to redeem yourself, and then perhaps you'll get a chance to salvage your dynasty's reputation. The Lord Inquisitor mentioned in his letter that he is willing to show lenience toward my actions that would otherwise be interpreted as radical. That is correct. I should show greater tolerance for the mistakes of a newly appointed rogue trader. To be frank, I am surprised. The Lord Inquisitor is not the type to indulge the weakness of soul and mind, even in someone who's only recently accepted the burden of a lofty title. You have spies in the Von Valancius worlds. The person I mentioned is not a spy, but a secretary in the Administratum department on Dargonus. The planet's governor and Theodora were fully aware of his status. His duty is to fulfill the sacred oath of the Golden Throne and eliminate threats to the Imperium, which the Koronus Expanse has in abundance. His name is Achilles Scalander. As soon as we contact Dargonus, I'll introduce you to as the new head of the dynasty. I'm sure you'll appreciate the presence of such an advisor among your subjects, and I suggest you heed his words at least occasionally. I want to know more about this cult of the Final Dawn. Chaos worshippers. Most often, agents of the throne run into lone renegades stirring up the rabble, insane prophets and hysteric visionaries preaching the end of days, a passing comet, a mutant rebellion, an onslaught of monsters. Each time they come up with a new reason why people should prostrate themselves and quiver in fear. Much effort and the blood of those loyal to the Golden Throne were spent before we could establish the connection between those heretics. However, the cult of the Final Dawn is something greater than a gaggle of misguided seers and fortune tellers. They cleverly spread their agents all over the Koronus Expanse, disseminating heresy among honest people on the Imperial worlds. There is a certain strategy to their actions that changes whenever we get too close. And finally, they have enough military power to have the two ships that we had sent after them discovered as wreckage. The growing difficulty in making warp jumps is detrimental to us, but is unlikely to inconvenience those who engage in vile sorcery day in, day out. Heinrix sighs. After the events on Rykad Minoris, I suspected the cult might have built its nest inside Winterscale's domain, but the latest reports indicate it is your protectorate that is harboring heretics. Being in your entourage improves my chance of getting closer to their secrets. I've already agreed to give you a place aboard my shelf. What else? The rogue trader should deliver me to the system that contains the industrial world of Kiava Gamma. I will accompany you to the surface and determine what the cult is planning and how it intends to use the resources that have fallen in their clutches, which may very well include the blessed engines of the Adeptus Mechanicus and even the followers of the Omnissiah themselves. I will be frank. The answer to this question is unlikely to please either of us. The machinations of chaos usually go beyond solely inflicting countless deaths and destruction. Having their plans come to fruition would lead to far terrible consequences. One of the systems in the Koronus Expanse is already lost. May the Emperor protects us from the strategy to play out. Let us assume Kiava Gamma has fallen to heresy. What then? Will you again propose we destroy an entire planet? Heinrix stares you down. On Rykad Minoris, you made a decision that sent billions of souls into the grasp of the arch-enemy, an unreasonable, unforgettably high price for a small handful of people saved by your mercy. Do I consider it a worthy exchange? I most certainly do not. Will I make every effort to make sure such an exchange does not happen again? Of course I will. Sentimentality is a luxury I cannot afford. I do not believe you lack compassion. You did not stop me after all, though you certainly could have tried to. The interrogator's eyes narrow. I haven't said that I would not like to be able to afford such luxury. In fact, deep down I understand why you acted that way. I have yet to eliminate the understanding and acceptance within myself, but I will. Why did your suspicion fall on Kiava Gamma? Disjointed pieces of data that emerged into a single picture. Additionally, not long ago, a vessel from that world arrived on footfall. The reports from the crew were confused and alarming, making me fear a planet-wide rebellion. We met a Chaos Space Marine on Rykad Minoris. Do we risk running into its brothers? I have no doubt it'll happen sooner or later, Gregor. Chaos Marine siding with the cult is very, very bad news. Most likely they kept away until recently, pulling their puppet strings from a respectable distance. These traitors seldom show up alone. The best we can count on is having to deal with just a squad of Chaos Space Marines in the Koronus Expanse and not an entire company. I won't let anyone throw their weight around my worlds, be they the servants of chaos, Xenos, or heretics. A commendable aspiration for a person who holds the fates of billions of people and dozens of imperial worlds at his hands, which is why you need to be ever more vigilant when looking for seeds of corruption on your planets, lest they sprout someday and spell doom for whatever is tangled up in their roots. That is enough discussion about the arch-enemy's servants. Tell me more about the Drukhari who stole Rykad's son. Heinrix winces. The Drukhari, one of the branches of the Alderai, an ancient and vicious Xenos race. Those creatures are a living terror to ordinary people who fall prey to their raids for the simple reason that the victims are not killed outright but instead become their playthings. Just as you and I need air to survive, the Drukhari require psychic energy born from torment and pain, which they extract from their captives with an uncanny expertise. Their ships, which are difficult to mistake for any other, arrive suddenly and undetected. Their stealth technologies greatly surpass the capabilities of standard Imperium auger rays. The objective of their raids is never to capture a world or a ship. No, they're only interested in fresh victims. After filling their holds with living captives, they disappear into the webway, a different dimension which conceals their greatest stronghold, Komorag, the dark city of the Drukhari, from which none can hope to escape. Heinrich studies your expression. I do not know why the Drukhari stole Rykad's son and brought about the fulfillment of the cult's prophecies. Perhaps the Xenos themselves have played into the archenemy's designs, and perhaps Aurora's divinations, in fact, described the Drukhari's actions. There can only be one thing I can say with absolute certainty. There is no alliance between the cult of Final Dawn and the Xenos. It is simply impossible. I must go about my business. Is there anything else I must know? Let me put it this way. You may think whatever you want of me, but my goal is not to hinder you. I'm here to help you in the fight against foes you may not even be aware of. You have my word that I'll provide every assistance in uprooting the heresy that has sprouted on the Von Valancius worlds while their master was away, and then I will try to be more patient with less grievous flaws that the bearers of the warrant are sometimes known to have. Thank you for sparing the time. You're welcome, but why did you leave me in here? We wish to continue. We're finishing on this ship before we end this episode, no matter how long that may take. Heinrix, were we done speaking?
To what do I owe this visit?
Oh my. I want to discuss the cult of the Final Dawn. What can you tell me about it?
The cult's ordinary members are humans who have been corrupted by the archenemy, traitors to the Imperium, and accomplices of chaos. Participation in the cult's rituals always entails brainwashing, literally and figuratively. The longer cult members spend among other cultists, the less critically they think, and the more closely they resemble obedient livestock, stripped of their fear and instinct for self-preservation. The worst of them go to their deaths without an inkling of doubt, ready to take hundreds and thousands of souls with them. As for those at the top of the cult's hierarchy, we have not yet managed to get a lead on all of the cult's leaders. I imagine that some of them are hiding in the depths of the Koronus Expanse. But those who are orchestrating the fanatics on nearby worlds are hiding very well indeed. Or receiving protection from above.
Remind me, what is your mission regarding the cult?
I need to confirm the reports from my agents. According to them, one of the cult's leaders is in the Kiava Gamma segment, an industrial world within the dominion of the Von Valancius dynasty. I hope you won't impede my investigation.
What do you mean protection from above?
Governors, commanders, rogue traders. History is full of those who neglect their duty to the Golden Throne and seek allies in the wrong places.
You seem to be investigating this cult for some time.
We discovered the first traces of it as soon as we arrived in the Koronus Expanse. Since then, the more we learn, the better we see just how far the roots of this blight extend. Destroying individual cells is pointless. We must cut this beast off at its head.
Talk about something else.
As you wish.
Take my leave. Alright, High Factotum Generous, you got anything for me, buddy? Let's see here. Let's order some shipping. So we have all these people now. I knew we had some more things to grab. Oh wait, no, cancel that, please. All taunting scream, suffer. Onslaught. Instantly increases movement 6 and 2 charges of the slash ability. Bloodhound Staff, +5 willpower, +5 perception. Cool. I accept, thank you. What about Opticon here? Target Designator, whenever the warrior hits an enemy with a dead-eye shot, it reduces the enemy's deflection by 1. There's an exploit. Sure. Lodium? Nothing. Rizza? Nothing. And the Chartists? Nothing. One point or another will be... I really want to know, do we have anything to trade to you guys? I don't think so still. Go ahead and save. We've still got some more talking to do. 2 more people, I think, to talk to, and then we'll be done. Adira. I've learned that the cache is left by Theodora somewhere on Dargonis and Kiava Gamma. Do you know anything about this?
Me? Not a clue, Lord Captain. I don't know who Lady Theodora would have told about a thing like that, but it definitely wasn't me. Why would you whisper that to me now? Why? Lord Captain, I don't know anything about caches or Lady Theodora's secrets, but the voices have just reminded me about something. I was once given the chance to try some real wine. Lady Theodora gave me some. Not just any old synthetic booze, but her favorite plonk. She always drank it in her palace. It was golden in color, and its name was Flame of Purity. A silly name, but the flavor was so intense, and like nothing I'd ever tasted before or since. Apologies. It's probably not important, but I don't know anything more than that.
Thank you, Adira.
Of course.
Now, Jay. What's up, girl?
Allow me to thank you again for helping me with the cargo, Sherin. I am sure the Ashmags who squirreled away my goods won't give up so easily, and I'll hear more about their scheming yet. Let's strike a deal, Sherin. I will watch your back, if you do me a favor and watch mine. Well, enough jokes. Is there something you wanted?
Was there some business you wish to discuss?
Oh, Sherin, I did manage to spark your interest. Allow me to invite you to a more private place. My words are meant for your ears alone.
Oh, more reading, thank goodness. That's what I always wanted to know. Always wanted to do this. Weird. The flickering light of dozens of candles plays across Jay's face, making her small smile even appear more mysterious. Shireen, the Exalted One himself, brought us together the day you crossed the Dime's threshold. He led us to the cargo and gave us his blessing for its return. Do you know what people in my world would say when such a thing happens? What's gained is to be shared with your neighbor. She points at the containers in front of her. One contains a polished Aldari rifle, a rare model, and the other holds an ornate sword. I'm sharing what I've gained with you. Please accept these humble gifts in honor of our wildly successful, though suddenly struck friendship. Interesting. Truly wonderful gift. I accept with gratitude. Oh, knew you would appreciate the Xenos mastery of their craft. Jade beams at you, curling a lock of black hair around her augmented finger. After a brief pause, she awkwardly continues. So, the matter I wanted to discuss with you is related to my business. You know I sell Xeno artifacts to interested in Imperial subjects and Imperial trinkets to Xenos. Business is going well. My network runs even without my participation. But when it comes to expansion, well, that is where I hit a wall. Rivals envious of my success. Jade throws up her hands. Falco especially. I'm certain the theft of the cargo was his doing, but I can never predict what the Ashmag will do next. And while the Imperium's authority may be fragmented in the Expanse, it could crack down on my people of my profession at any moment. Go on. If the rogue trader put in a good word for me with the servants of the Adeptus Administratum, I could become an official trade representative of the Imperium. Just imagine it, a little scrap of paper that offered me and my agents protection against Ashmag's schemes far better than any refractor field. And even the Inquisition will have to think twice before they mess with me, because I'll be a representative of the law in my own right. And the best part of all of this is that it will cost you precisely nothing, Shireen. All you have to do is stop by the Administratum Palace and obtain a certificate from your Master of Seals. My informants tell me that the palace is located in Dargonus, your capital world. You see how everything was aligned so wonderfully, and of course I will repay you in kind. How do I benefit from gaining your official status? Besides being in a receipt of my eternal gratitude, Shireen, Jay playfully raises a brow. Wouldn't it be beneficial to have someone in your retinue with the weight of authority behind them rather than just another pawn? One slip of paper and I'll be able to extend my network to systems far beyond footfall. My agents will be your eyes and ears throughout the Expanse. Sounds simple enough. I'll help you. Exalted one, bless you, Shireen. I couldn't find a better business partner in all the Expanse. She ponders for a moment and then graces you with a dazzling smile. Friendship is a gift from the Exalted One. We must cherish it. And you'll have no complaints about our friendship, Shireen. I may not be a trade representative of the Imperium just yet, but I can still help you with whatever you need. You must have some faction in mind that you'd like to establish relationships with. The severe Drusians, the hot-headed pirates of the Casbalica. You merely need to use the right words, like a key for a lock, and the people will open their hearts or their wallets. I'll arrange everything for you. You merely have to ask. Casbalica, Drusians, the Adeptus Mechanicus. Yeah, let's go with the Adeptus Mechanicus. Not a problem, Shireen. I'll have my people put in a good word for you in the right circles. I will humbly wait for you to steer your vessel towards Dargonus, the Mercantum Tabula Officiali. It sounds almost majestic as the Horn of Trade. Quit leaving me in here! I wish to not be in here. And then the last people to talk to, which might not have anything to talk about. Nothing to talk about. Abel? All good, Abel. Great. Fantastic. Okay, well, I'm going to go through and level her up and bring you back when that's done, and I'll check out our gear as well, and I'll see you guys in a moment. All right, we have got her leveled up here. This was already all set, so I'm not even really going to go over it. But this is what we took. We took the Master Tactician. She gets technical advantage, gains 1 stack of tactical advantage every 5 momentum gained by the Master Tactician to their allies. Great. They begin with stacks equal to their fellowship bonus. And then press the advantage. They empower their next attack to deal 4% additional damage for every stack of tactical advantage. And then we took strong point, which they gain temporary wounds and 1 additional temporary wound for every 2 stacks of tactical advantage the Master Tactician has, but the Master Tactician will just have the stacks for yes, okay. And then this grants half the amount of temporary wounds to their closest ally as well. So yeah, pretty cool. That's gonna do for this episode though, guys. Next time around, we're gonna be diving into a little bit more. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.